Hey guys, welcome back to ArtosisCasts. We've got two of the channel favorites here today. In the bottom right, we have Bishop, and in the bottom left, we have ZeloT. So, you know, obviously everyone loves the aggressive style of ZeloT. I feel like True has been outshining him a little bit. He's like just slightly less aggressive, but kind of a similar style. I've been doing a lot of True games, but always love to do ZeloT games as well. Of course, we did recently actually see Bishop versus True, and I thought that Bishop put out like a really good Terran vs. Zerg there. But True is just in unbelievable form at the moment. So when I saw that these two played, it's like, oh, let's take this slightly more aggressive guy that's very similar to True and see how Bishop does against him. Maybe it'll be enough. I don't know. But we're on Deja. A great map. It has been altered for the upcoming new ASL season. I'm going to be honest, I'm not a big fan of how they altered it. They did alter the center and made it a little bit wider open with less mineral patches. And this high ground area that goes around like the donut is no longer buildable at all anywhere. So definitely a little bit different from before. But other than that, I think it's pretty much the same. So it's just some relatively large nerfs against Terran there. No more missile turrets on high ground. Turtling the center is going to be very, very difficult to do. So yeah, there you go. But for Terran vs. Zerg, it's not actually going to change anything. Neither of those spots are utilized at all in this matchup. And in fact, this is the slightly older version of Deja Vu. They haven't actually updated the ladder pool as of when this game has been played. Okay. Looks like ZeloT with a very normal hatchery first. This is just like a barracks for a wall. He'll just make one depot here, and he'll expand. He might expand before the depot since he's finding the hatchery first. And yeah. I kind of like this idea. For a spot, like, here's the thing. You can go depot here, and that makes it so that this is the only entry point for Zerglings. But you can also go depot here and just have a very thin entry point and then the regular entry point. And economically, this is better because your first depot goes here. You actually have to send the SCV pretty early to build the depot out here, and it does impact your economy. And even this depot, by the way, do you know why they always put the depot here? It's because SCVs normally pop out there, but when you build it here, it pops out here. So it literally gets the minerals quicker. The more you know. Okay. Now, layer on the way. Overlord's just kind of flying around, getting their scouting done. Yeah, I do like that. I do like that idea. Because any sort of wall, as soon as you have a wall even this good, if you're willing to build Marines, you know, you're not going to just stop on 2 or 3, which you could do with a full wall. But as long as you're going to build a decent amount of Marines, like, you don't need a bunker anymore for a long time. Maybe you'll want one if they're playing really aggressive as mutas come, but you really don't need one till then. Whereas if it's a wide open choke, you actually either you stay super on top of scouting or you build a bunker. Like if your SCV happens to die, you'd be like, damn, and then you just build a bunker because you can't be sure. Okay. Taking a look at this position, this is a very fast +1 build from Bishop. And looking over here, he's already made a sunken. So the sunken could be a nod towards a possible pressure coming out from Bishop. I do wonder about that. Like the sunken is very, very fast here. Does he think that this could be a faster factory? I don't think so. But a lot of Terrans like to push out right now. It's a very peculiar sunken. Because normally you don't want to get that until you absolutely feel like you have to. But the thing is, it does make you completely safe. So, yeah, I do wonder about that. Because, like, okay, like, obviously it's really hard to get full scouting info. You don't know exactly what's going on back here. And one sunken will stop any early pressure. It doesn't stop 2 barracks Marine medic. And so it's like, okay, we got that really early and everything. So I'm not so sure about this. It's just, it feels a little bit weird because, well, here's the thing, guys. What we can tell is that you don't actually need it against this build, right? So that would have been like additional drones mining. One additional drone plus like you spent money on that could have possibly been like another larva more quickly. Whatever, it doesn't matter. I sometimes, I'm always interested when like an extra defensive structure goes up because pros are very, very careful about not overmaking defensive structures to the point where sometimes you guys are like, why didn't he just make the extra? I'm like, yeah, okay, maybe he should have. But it's hard to say. Now, the 4 barracks coming up, that 3rd base on location, this is going to be really, really useful. And the muta's coming out now. So he does need to get those missile turrets up. Range is already on the way. This is like a very well executed build from Bishop. Yeah, he's going to have everything just in the nick of time here. The Marines continue to, they're just kind of like defending this turret so it can be made in time. A few units being picked off by ZeloT. Are going to have to back up a little bit. Very good production. This is actually really interesting, that turret setup. I kind of just want to like pause the game and talk about the intricacies of this. Like this setup from Bishop is truly, truly cool. The fact that he's utilizing this as his northern turret at the beginning with the 1 depot. If he has the 2nd depot, you can't really utilize this because that depot's free. It feels like a very, very solid game plan overall. Like this covers for the turret you'd normally make here because it's so left aligned and he got range so quickly this game. That is fascinating because a lot of people are like, why don't you just use a bunker against mutas? And generally it's not a good idea. Costs a lot more money. It doesn't focus its fire. You know, it's bigger. It's like harder to get into certain places. You're going to want to unload it at some point. Zerglings could draw fire. There's like a lot of things that are wrong with it. But in this particular case, it's actually doing heavy lifting for him. Wow. Seriously. Sorry, I'm not commentating much else in the game right now, but that is a fascinating bunker placement. That seems so smart. I haven't seen anyone do it like that. You guys watch every day, right? Have you seen any game that looked like this defensively? Bishop's awesome. Okay, anyways, Bishop trying to walk out now. ZeloT trying to harass with those mutas. I mean, he's picking off a little bit, but Bishop's getting his counters in there. Hydralis Den is up with the Lurker upgrade halfway, so he's just got to keep on top of this bio until he has some Lurkers out. The Evolution Chamber on the way as well. A bunch of Overlords in that top left. That +1 armor is coming up here, as well as a couple add-ons. Wants to get those Science Vessels out ASAP. Secondary bunker in the front is interesting as well. So it seems like he's kind of sniffed out that this could be the type of game where Lurkers try to run up. Okay, in come the mutas, and obviously, you know, it's only 3 turrets here. You can't even repair that one. So he breaks down 2 of them very quickly. This is forcing Bishop back a little bit. And the mutas are actually doing a really good job here. Little group out in the front. I'm actually surprised he didn't send this out. A lot of times when someone does that type of dive, you just send your group out there further into the map to try to draw the mutas back or possibly get damage. So I do feel like this might be a slightly missed opportunity, but Bishop may have lost track of when the Lurkers are going to be out. It does actually look that way. So he's staying very defensively right now, which makes sense. And I'm going to explain that in a second after we watch these mutas just murder everything. My God. ZeloT doing a fantastic job with these mutas. Picks off the medic as well. He's hurt that SCV count pretty dramatically, although there's still 35. And by the way, Siege Tank with Siege Mode. So let me show you why he did that. He's actually been able to scan enough. There's no hive yet. So basically, if your opponent goes for Hydralis Den, while they're going mutas, they go Hydralis Den and Evolution Chamber, but not Queen's Nest, you need to get Siege Tanks. Because it means that they're going to mass up a ton of Lurkers. Because it's like either they make a ton of Lurkers or they rush up to Defiler. If they rush up to Defiler, the Siege Tanks don't do anything. If they get a ton of Lurkers, you can't do anything. And sometimes they'll come up, and this is why he has this bunker. This is why, even though he's going to starport, he has siege tanks making. He'll just, like, cut out some of the vessels that he was going to make. This is a very cool game. Muta's looking like they are going to rotate back in here. This is one nice thing. Like, it's such a funny position, but if you go for the heavy lurker strategy, they have to go siege tanks, which means they don't have many irradiates. Like, they might get one reasonably quickly. But especially in this situation where he went for double starport, and now he's got, like, lots of siege tanks, and he's sitting so unbelievably defensively here. But it makes it so the mutas can actually harass a little bit longer because the anti-air is not nearly as prevalent. Like, he's almost got a radiate. He's going to have one irradiate, and then it's a while before he has a second one. Or, well, he actually did make a second vessel, so it won't be too long. But, yeah, that's... The mutas do find a little bit more value in situations like this. By the way, he started his 4th base. He still isn't getting it. My God, this is a... Dude, ZeloT is playing really different from what we normally see. He's actually getting the Hydralisk upgrades. So... You know, Hydra Lurker Defiler has become very, very, very popular. It's like the hardest to kill composition that Zerg has. And they kind of grind you with Plague. You know, and we've seen, for instance, True recently going more Zergling Hydra with that, which was really interesting. We saw that even against Bishop. Here, he's not going Hive. And so when you're not going Hive, this is when you're, it's actually Hydra Lurker that you're going for with upgrades. And it's 2 evolution chambers as well. This is actually In Control's old strategy. He called it Manzerg. And it was surprisingly hard to play against. So the Hydras just are giving you kind of a consistency of damage and zoning out any science vessels or things like that. And then you have so many lurkers that you can't really engage into it. So you do definitely have to go for heavy siege tank play. And in fact, I think that you have to go 2 factory against it. Here, Bishop has 1, and he does have the double starport, so maybe he can, you know, with his superior multitasking, everything, maybe he can go like irradiate plus siege tank and make this work. But right now, look at the macro that ZeloT has. Equal on workers, very close on army supply. And the thing about the army supply is, Zerg is supply efficient, very supply efficient. Hydras are only 1 supply. They have twice the health of a Marine. You know, like that's pretty significant. So when you see the supply that high, it's like, oh, Zerg is looking good. But it is a composition that is, it's not invincible is the thing. Defilers make your units invincible. Like Dark Swarm, you just can't break through. Here, you micro this correctly, you have the right units, like you can beat the army. Absolutely. It doesn't just take no damage. So here, it looks like ZeloT might be trying to pincer this. Yeah, he's coming in. Definitely Bishop runs in the correct direction there to get away. Oh my God, is that... Dude, he's getting Queen energy. He's literally getting Queen energy right now. And the reason he would get that is for Broodling. He's gonna, like, finish this and then start a bunch of Queens in the Broodling upgrade. All right, so this siege tank push is very, very scary. That being said, this is enough to break it. So what he needs to do is have a bunch of units over here. He should have actually already cleared these eggs. I'm surprised he actually targeted those eggs. He should not. He should leave these eggs up because it has to be a flank that kills this, I think. Okay, so the Hydra's coming down with the Lurkers. This little group of units actually screwed it up quite a bit, and he's going to get some irradiates down. Kills this hatchery super quickly. The double evolution chamber are there, but only 1 is upgrading at the moment. And he actually runs for it. He's going to sacrifice his siege tanks here to get the upgrades. Well, here's the thing. The siege tanks were going to die. So it's like, do you get more value by fighting the army with your bio, or do you get more value by coming over here, killing the evolution chambers, and then fighting the army? You no longer have the siege tank support, but I actually would agree with what he did. Oh, and there looks like he did get a few units up here. He stemmed those up there as well. So Bishop will end up taking this game. That was fascinating, though. The fact that you know, we had ZeloT try to go for man Zerg, which is not something that pro Zergs really use. Very interesting. And the thing is, ZeloT is one of the most active players in the world right now, and he's very, very strong. So I do wonder. I'm very, very curious as to if this could be something that he's actually working on for top level play. Or is it just like he tries it one time or two times? It's like, nah, I don't really like it. I don't know. I think it could have been played better from him, but that was interesting. That was cool. Yeah, so thanks for watching, guys. Hope you enjoyed. See you next time.